whispers and rumors that don't get reported. Stories I write that are often distorted. Got my notebook and pen, and I'm ready to listen. Tell me the truth, I'll consider your position. I've seen killers with eyes so cold and dead, and others go to prison because of what someone said, rotting away for the rest of their lives, leaving a hole here on the outside. Things are sad here on Earth, and it's no wonder why, when you consider the sociopaths who remain in charge. It's me who sees the system for all its flaws, and I usually start with the probable cause. My right hand is reading the probable cause. Welcome to The Probable Cause. This is a podcast covering the criminal justice system in Allen County, Indiana, northeastern Indiana, and quite often the state of Indiana. I'm Jamie Duffy, your host and a locally based journalist. To my left, you're going to find Michael McAlexander. He is the co-host and the Allen County prosecutor. Also, we have my right hand on the phone, as usual. She's been with us from the start. She's my legal feedback maven. She lost her son when he was 22, 9 years ago to homicide, gun violence, and became a very involved advocate for the victims. Today, we're going to do a retrospective of what we've covered since February 11th when we started this partnership, the three of us, and with my right hand, and what we kind of hope to investigate next year. Of course, we are open to suggestions as well, but first we need to get to the courts. What's going on in the courts, Mike?
We have a murder trial going this week, and it started on Tuesday, yesterday, and hopefully will be concluded tomorrow.
Yes, I did cover opening arguments and then some of the witnesses for that. It is the felony murder trial of Michael Barker, who is now 45 years old, who is accused of participating in the demise of a 63-year-old William Jeff Kinzel. On video, Kinzel and convicted murderer Anthony Lopez walked into a wooded area at McCormick and Birchwood Avenues. Only Lopez walked out. Kinzel was shot twice in the back, once in the leg, but he was clubbed in the head prior to that. He still had the will to survive and crawled toward the opening. He was in a wooded area, but there was trying to make it that kind of like 20 feet to the opening. As I recall, it was about 20 feet, but he didn't make it. Two older teens found him 4 days after he was killed on April 10, 2022. Anthony Lopez was convicted in October of 2022. And I don't know when Michael Barker was charged. They were childhood friends. And there was a detective on FWPD who sort of grew up in the same neighborhood. They all grew up in the same neighborhood, easily identifiable in all kinds of surveillance videos. So what on earth they were thinking when they did this? Well, I do know some of the backstory, only I'm not going to bring it up here. So you can find my story on the Probable Cause Facebook page and on www.theprobablecause.com. Go for it. I hope to be in there tomorrow, which is Thursday, to at least get closing arguments. It is Tom Shaley for the defense and Megan Campbell. For the defendant, it is Jared Marks, who's getting a lot of experience in murder trials and whatnot as a public defender. So
Try a lot of murder cases.
Well, we have 60 of them waiting to be tried, and I mean, this week I did notice that I was waiting to find out what case was going to go. There, we had an attempted murder, I think 2 attempted murders, maybe another murder. Nothing was a speedy trial, so it was hard to gauge which one might go. What do they usually try and go with, the one that's been sitting there the longest?
Usually it's the most serious case.
Oh, okay.
But in custody, most serious case. So that's why the murder cases are frequently the first ones up.
Right. Well, we might say he's not accused of shooting William Kinzel, because William Kinzel was shot in the woods. He was the getaway driver. He moved from the back seat up to the front seat and waited for Lopez to come around. He's not convicted, but that's what they're saying happened. But you know, he got charged with felony murder because then they were also committing a robbery at the same time. And I asked Tom Shaley, okay, what was the robbery? Well, they took the guy's car.
Yep.
Not theft, but robbery. So, and they took off with it. And here's another real stupid thing about this case. I mean, if you're going to do something like this, at least think through it so the probable cause can be a little bit more interesting for somebody like me.
I don't think they're anticipating the press coverage of their crimes.
I guess they thought they were going to get away with it, which is like they left a victim with the key fob to the car around his neck in the woods. So once they drove off, and then they drove to a shopping complex, and they said, oh, wait a minute, we got to go into Dollar General and get us some bleach and some Clorox wipes, and we better clean this car out, and all these things they were going to do. Well, the car got turned off, so they couldn't start it again. Yeah, I know.
And they're innocent until proven guilty.
Yes, thank you. Well, one of them was convicted, so
Yes.
The other one is facing his fate. That's so true. So now for a toast. We are going to be talking about the whole podcast. I'm sure everybody is interested in how on earth we got this started. And it's an interesting tale, and I do want to tell it, and I want Mike to chime in. But first, we need to open the champagne. Now, before you get any ideas, this is alcohol removed because here at the prosecutor's office, you're not allowed to bring booze in. So I am going to propose that we bring in the FBI in January and check every one of these rooms. Just kidding, all right? But anyway, here goes, you guys. I'm going to have Brock help me because I don't think I'm strong enough to do it. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, we get my mic on. Hold on. I turn my mic off so you don't have to hear me breathing. Like
I think I need towel around my hand. All right, here we go. Here we go.
that is kind of a tough one. Hold on, here it comes. I'm trying not to get it to fizzle out. There you
Excellent.
All right, good job.
All right, attention. Thank you, Mr. Eastom, who's been with us from the beginning, February 11th of this year. Okay, so I'm going to toast for Mike, who didn't bring his funny glasses. You're going to have to use those at the end. Brock,
Here,
can we interest in you in that?
And I don't have to move you guys over. I'll just put the chair in.
All right. I feel like I'm on a cooking show right now.
Okay.
This one's for...
Censor her name.
Okay, this one's for my right hand. She has been my right hand for years now. People at Wayne used to joke and say, can I be your left hand? There you are, Miss My Right Hand. And this is pour moi. None of them really match, but that's what I like about them, because they're so pretty and they're well made. They're not El Cheapos and they're not plastic. After living in France for 8 years, I don't drink out of plastic unless I have to. Okay, so, all right, you all, to the probable cause. May it flourish into the new year. Here you go. All right, one little sip. Don't worry. I mean, it's not alcoholic, so. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's a sparkling brut. Usually brut will make you go, But it's got just a slight bit of sweetness, and it's not bad. And I'll also introduce you to what else we have. Kroger started stocking my favorite Italian biscuits again. They're well made because they're over there. Everything's pure. And they're called Tarali with a little bit of fennel in them. And I mean, they really make everything nice. Perfect for an aperitif. And then we also have from Kroger, everybody who knows me knows, I always pinwheels. So
No, that's not what you said earlier.
what did I say? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. They're canapé. Thank you. Thank you for
I said they were pinwheels.
Thank you for correcting me, Mike. So anybody who has a hankering. Okay, so here I go with our story. Anybody can chime in. So I was really keen to get this going, but my right hand was facing a big challenge, and we all know, and she has announced on the podcast that she does have cancer, and she's been battling it for the past year. She found out in December, and by the time it rolled around to February to start this thing, her pain was really, really great. And she said, I cannot make it down to the library. So in mid-December, I go to cover the swearing in of Jason Custer as a civil court judge, and you were there. Okay, so I went up to Mike and I said, would you be, because I was still working at Wayne for 2 days a week, would you be available for an interview on weighted measures? Okay, which is a pretty nerdy subject, but what is weighted measures? Well, it's something that the Indiana Supreme Court and their statistics department come up with to show the severity of need for judges in any given county. And Allen County has been needy for years. I mean, the first time I checked, we were number 17. Then we jumped up to number 3, and we've pretty much hung out at number 3, which is partly means why we're so court congested. I mean, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we had another judge in the criminal division, I don't think that the civil court division is hurting so badly, but the criminal division, it would really help.
Well, certainly those numbers on our Superior Court criminal division, I believe both Judge Gall and, well, all 3 of them are well over. You're supposed to hit a 1.0 is the ideal, and I think they're all up above 1.6, 1.7 range.
Right, which means that they really are handling more cases than the Indiana Supreme Court believes with their metrics, however they do it. Okay, so.
And we also have some issues that we're, if you will, landlocked in the courthouse. We have a finite amount of space in courtrooms to cover the 8 judges that practice in that building, plus several magistrates. So we've got, it was built with 4 large courtrooms for 12-person jury trials. But Circuit Court has one of them. They don't do very many jury trials, but they have other hearings they do.
Right, they're busy.
Yeah. And Superior Court 3 is used daily for the arraignment calendar.
That's Sam Kearns.
Mm-hmm. So,
and I did do a story on Sam Kearns. I love to sit in his courtroom.
So we're kind of down to 2 courtrooms for 3 criminal judges to share. And we also have issues because when we do trials, we need bailiffs that come from the sheriff's department.
Right.
That's taking officers off the street. So there's a lot of manpower issues that go into all of this. But it is unfortunate when we frequently go into a week, and I think this week was another one where we had 4 or 5 trials that got congested, which meant they got continued because the one trial went. So
if they get continued forever, then we know, like one of them who got out. That doesn't happen very often. But anyway, so back to that, Mike did agree, and I came over into this very office. We were sitting here right at this table, and I started telling him my woes about how I needed to start this podcast. It was, kind of like now or never, maybe not quite that bad. And I looked at him and I said, "Would you mind doing it?"
I believe I thought it was a one-shot deal. Because I think the first one we did, we used the facilities at the library.
Right.
On their, I think, do they call it the studio? But it was their grand opening.
Right.
The first day, and they had a basically more of a audio booth to do it in.
Right. And that was the problem, was an audio booth. So I'm not quite there yet. So anyway, I couldn't believe my ears when he said that he would do it. So I was up the next week because I was getting a picture of Tom Shaley, Tessa Helge, and Nicholas Lixon, who was the homicide detective on the case. They did prevail on that case, but don't ask me which one it was. And Tessa said, "Well, did you need to speak to Mike?" And I said, "Yeah, actually I do." So I came in here because he was here. And I said, "You said you agreed to do that podcast. Did you actually mean it?" And then he said, yeah, I'll do that. And then I said, "Well, did you listen to my song?" And then he laughed even harder. Mike, what do you think of the song? Come on, let's hear it.
I'll just put it this way. That style of music is not something I listen to, so.
So diplomatic.
Good answer.
I know James Posey thinks it's hilarious. So anyway, we get down there February 11th at the library, and it's the assigned time. And I think that, we're going to be filming it. And I got it confused because they do have the cable news department or wherever. But then if you do a podcast, it's all audio. And I said, oh, no, no, no. And meanwhile, I'd gotten Brock to come and take like a promo photo. It's the photo that you see basically on our Facebook page and everything else. It's like the logo photo at this point, right? And so I'm racing around the library trying to figure out what to do. And Brock's like, well, hey, I've got my camera equipment out in the car. Do you want me to run and get it? And I said, yeah, go get it. I was like, absolutely, go get it. And yeah, I'll just film it right now. And I don't even know. I think you said you'd edit it for us. And I didn't
We didn't have a plan. I asked, I said, how are you going to edit? You went, I don't know. I guess I thought they were going to do all that.
I could see this thing was getting really, really, really complicated, okay? So anyway, okay, back again. Brock is a Snyder High School graduate and a PFW graduate. He works all over town, works a lot in the theater, for the theater companies. Is that a good way to put it? And I don't know, promotional and everything else. I just can't believe how busy he is. So obviously I'm really grateful that he stuck with us because this is a little bit different than everything else he's worked on. I think that we have a great camaraderie between the three of us and with my right hand. I mean, after the podcast, we share a few laughs and stories and our ideas and everything like that. And I also want to say I think that this podcast is so valuable because of the input of Mike. I mean, he gave us a real legitimacy, It's like I could sit here and rail on about...
and you do.
And I do, yeah, about any given, like habitual traffic violator. I just think it's ridiculous that we put people in prison for being habitual traffic violators, and I know some of their stories. But, he has a different perspective. He's obviously a prosecutor, and he can give us the where, the when, the why, the history of things. And deep down, he's got a really good heart, and I think it's important too. So
let me toss in here that
go ahead and toss.
When you see Jamie say something that perhaps I don't completely agree with.
You think?
I look over usually to my left. It's Brock and I rolling our eyes, or as she goes on and on and on.
And you always know what it's going to, because Jamie always does this too before she says something. So always this little smile, like she's about to stir the pot.
I know. I do have a rant machine in me. I haven't even let loose with that yet.
Or our French lesson for the day.
A French lesson, yes. The canapé, drinking out of real glass, like drinking out of plastic. And, there's way too much of that going on. Even when you drink a beer, it should be out of glass, in my opinion.
Well, I can't go to Mercado with her without her going, this reggaeton music, though.
Love it. I love it. Anyway, I had laid plans for this. I had already formed my company, Maumee Media, which I don't have the logo on today, but I had to come up with that because so many names were already taken. Because as I said one time before, the public relations firms also call themselves by media. So, like I said, so many of them were taken. I had written a theme song. I put that down, the tracks down that with Big Keese, who is a DJ, local entertainer, local comedian. He's funny as anything. Works at Loud 103.3 FM. And that was a lot of fun to do too. Came up with the Legos. And so that's how we got started. And Mike's been good enough to come on every week and elucidate, clarify, clear up a lot of things. And
he also lets us do it in his office. We're not in the little game room anymore.
Yeah, no, that's true too. I mean, we're here, and I think people have gotten used to us. I don't know. So, and then about the song, there is one verse that's very pro-cop. I have not written a verse for the prosecutors, the judges, or the defense attorneys, but I suppose if I find some time, I might be able to come up with one for that.
Well, you're going to be doing a lot of traveling the next couple of weeks, so maybe you could work on that.
There you go.
All right. Which one do you want me to do first? Prosecutor?
Whatever.
Is he going to do
whatever inspires you.
Is Mike going to do the rap part for you?
Deputy Prosecutor James Posey says he should.
Wears cool glasses.
Was that former deputy prosecutor?
Oh, it's a rough world around here, boy. And all kinds of things are covered. The reality of guns and being a felon, and you can't have a gun for 15 years, even though everybody around you has one. Domestic violence. I sided with the gentleman in the song because I have seen women use their cell phones, and also the protective orders is kind of a weapon, if they think that their man's cheating on them or whatnot. And it's not always the case. I mean, some of them are battered, and of course, we're never, ever going to defend those people. And then I did write one from the journalist point of view, and when I sit in that courtroom, and, I end up making up my own mind on things too. So then I wanted to go over some of the things that we've done this year that we've had such a great time, and also with Brock's talent and eagerness to really, be available for this stuff. We've done a few news clips, for lack of a better word. You can see the stand-up we filmed, and Brock produced the Pike's Pub hearing, where 4 of the defendants appeared. We were the only media there with that one. And the one that you produced it was
weird, though. I never thought I'd have a camera in the courtroom. That was very weird.
I know, and we will continue to do that.
You're more aggressive than me, though. Jamie's always up there with the phone. I try to stay way out of the way.
Well, it's been years and years of that. We also did one for Veterans Court. We had Judges Ashley Hand and Fran Gull. It was kind of a moving ceremony in many ways to see that little chaplain who got up there, and he passed Veterans Court, and I knew him from the protests. I think his name's Elijah. I'd have to think now. But we talked before he went up and got in his award, and I thought, boy, I tell you what, these veterans, they really go through a lot. And, PTSD and everything like that. And it's nice that we have a Veterans Court where they can...
I think it's Ike, but...
Ike, there we go. That they can get counseling. Because you just can't do this stuff on your own.
Well, I mean, that's the purpose behind all of our problem-solving courts. I think the veterans courts are probably some of the most successful because you're dealing with people that, at least at one point in their lives,
this is good.
Were knew how to follow rules, were responsible for themselves. Where sadly some of the other people that we see have never had much structure, family structure or educational structure, any structure. And it makes it very tough for them to comply with the rules of those programs, even though to maybe the average person, it shouldn't be that difficult to go to work every day, do your job, come home, take care of your family.
Wendy Davis told me about one kid. His father introduced him to heroin when he was 11 years old. Now, what kind of a life is that poor kid going to have?
Exactly.
And if there's nobody to catch him like a net, like a fish in a net, they get out of Allen County Jail or wherever they are, and what her phrase was, they go sideways. They go to the people that they already know, and then they're right back where, unfortunately, they were. Another one that was really great, Tessa Helge made an announcement. Of course, if anybody else makes an announcement, we'll be there. We don't want to be partisan, but she made a campaign announcement running for Allen County.
I'll be partisan on this.
I think you had a hand in all of this.
You want to help run cameras for somebody else?
Yeah, and so we showed up, and we just had a great time. And Brock put another great video together, and it's like, I want to say, you can see all this stuff on the Facebook page or the website. Not easy to miss at this point, very easy to find. And I was going to say, YouTube under our name has opening and closing arguments. When the judge allows me in the courtroom to film it, I say, Judge David Zent, thank you very much. He's great about giving me approval. On camera, you're going to find Robert Scremin, Jamie Egolf, Tyree Barfield. They're all defense attorneys giving openings, closings, whatever I could get on camera. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. On the prosecution side, we have Tom Shaley, Tessa Helge, Rachel Geschwend, and Jamie Groves. Pretty sure I had Jamie Groves. And once again, if I forgot anybody, those were Tom Shaley is, of course, Chief Deputy Prosecutor. Tessa Helge right now is Chief Counsel. Rachel Geschwind and Jamie Groves are both Deputy Prosecutors. And then before we get to the topics that we covered, I wanted to talk about who we've had on as our guests. We've had a few of them when I started going through the list.
Yeah, sure.
And the first one that we ever had, well, first we had Sheriff Hirschberger, Troy Hirschberger, because I think you went to Florida or you were supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And
Went to Florida in April.
right, and so we hadn't been on air that long, so I said, hey, I walked into his office, do you mind being the co-host? Because he always loves to talk about criminal justice and the new jail and the old jail, and is very fluid. And so we had him on as our co-host when Mike went to Florida. We also had Judge Andrea Trevino, and we were in kind of a hurry to get her because she'd made the decision to go into private practice. And so that was a really great one because she gave us all these great photos. Remember that? She kept you busy because Brock always tries to drop all the photos that anybody, any of our guests have, when they were kids, when they graduated from law school, when they got married, anything that kind of makes the story even more interesting as we interview them. And Judge Andrea Trevino really sent us some great photos. I remember one of them, she was in a foot race or something, remember? And she was just there at the starting block, and you could see the determination in her face. Another guest was Billy Liberato. Everybody seems to call him Billy, but formally he's William Liberato. He is our chief public defender for the county. That one was really good. Clerk of the court, John McGauley, very entertaining. Deputy prosecutor.
He's not the clerk. He was the court executive for Allen Superior Court.
Right, I should have checked that before I did that because yes, he is the court executive, which is a top position, and I don't know if has anybody replaced him yet.
I believe they've hired somebody. I don't know if they've made a public announcement or not.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we look forward to that. Then we had Deputy Prosecutor James Posey. He came on because he said, I'm really tired of seeing I think he put it, what did he say, Brock? Was it the mentally ill people that he saw coming through the prosecutor's office? And he was just really getting fed up with it. And so we really went into that and what the percentages were and really what we need to do to solve it.
He was just out there talking to us, and you went, "Do you want to be on next week?"
I think that's more accurate.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it went down.
Oh yeah.
I was like, well, what would you change? When we were at the elevator, I said, well, what, if you were on, what would you talk about? And that's when he came up with that. And I really do think that we need to. Well, I think it's going to take money, and it all depends on whether your state legislature is willing to invest in this. Indiana, goes way down in the mental health, and we need to pull it back up. We need to give more facilities to take care of these people. That would be huge. We're in a tough spot right now. We had Chief Counsel Tessa Helge. We now know that she's running for prosecutor. And she was telling us how she got into it. She started, as I recall, not here, but didn't she go to work as an intern or a volunteer or something like that at a prosecutor's office?
Yeah, as a victim advocate.
A victim advocate.
In Wisconsin.
Yeah. And then she came here because she's married to an attorney, and he got a job here in Fort Wayne.
She went to Valparaiso for law school.
Oh, yes.
Met her husband there. And then I think he was the first to get a job because he's from Nebraska, I believe. So, but they've been here now, I think, close to 20 years.
Oh, so they like Fort Wayne. They've seen a lot of the changes, too, in 20 years. That's for sure. I haven't even been back 20 years. So then the last one that we just posted is Lieutenant Adam Griffiths with the Allen County Sheriff's Department. There's been a lot of changes in the Sheriff's Department, and one of them is that they have finally added confinement officers, and they came up with a very good recruitment process for that. I'm trying to think of how they did it, but they, whenever they can, they've got Facebook out there. They've got great big billboards. They've done everything. And, what did he say? They've got like a lot of people, which over the state, they don't get those kind of numbers. So they're doing everything. They also started a policy where they will promote from within, which really makes sense because then that gives somebody who gets hired on as a confinement officer something to work toward. And so, really great job with the Sheriff's Department right now. All right, so we have 2 more to drop this year. One of them's with my son, Robert Duffy, who is a human rights attorney with one of the big nonprofits. I'm not going to say which one it is. I thought it would be an interesting topic because we all follow that.
Sure he's not a secret agent of some type?
Secret agent man. Right there, we should have a few bars of that song. No, I don't think he is. And also maybe younger people can see you can go into various areas in the law. Human rights isn't a particularly easy one to break into. But there again, what is? The law is... we need lawyers here in Indiana. Lord knows we need attorneys. Mm-hmm. And we need a law school. So I'll probably have to go into that later. I still think, I've got a whole spiel about that. Okay, so note to the students, speaking another language is really helpful. Just study on your own since the local universities around here are pulling out, which is, in my opinion, a bad decision. If anybody watched 60 Minutes on Sunday, you will find out that Germany is a rising power and presence in the world. They have the 3rd largest economy in the world. And they're rearming because they are kind of filling in for us. As far as Ukraine, they're supplying them with drones and everything else. So, hey, how about learning German here? You used to be able to take German out at PFW. I also think that has been sabotaged, just like the French department. So, so you could go, maybe to Michigan and maybe they still offer it. Who knows? We have a lot of people of descent. I have German descendants. I don't know if you guys do or not. I know. I have one ancestor who came over from Russia. And
I thought you were going to talk about 60 Minutes coverage of Indiana University and the football team.
Yes, and wasn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'm so proud of Indiana. And I don't think their basketball team's all that bad either.
So. We'll see.
Because that's what whoever it was who did it, the reporter, did say that Indiana had always been a basketball state.
Mm-hmm.
And now, all of a sudden, Signetti, he's not backing down.
Attack.
I know, he's the man. And then we closed out our guest list this year, but not next year, with Kim Churchward, who's the executive director of the Allen County Community Corrections. She made her retirement announcement right here on the Probable Cause. She will be retiring after 40 years in criminal justice and at least a decade with the community corrections. She was such a trailblazer, it is difficult to imagine her sitting at home eating bonbons, which we also have to eat. Who doesn't love them? Some Russell Stovers. We'll get to that too. But yes, she told everybody. She wrote a retirement letter. It was read out at Community Corrections Advisory Board meeting. And I said to Mike after the meeting, look, this is breaking news. I haven't posted anything, but we're working on getting that up as soon as possible.
Next day or two here.
I think we're going to leapfrog the one with my son and get.
Also, don't forget Detective Kruger, which that one will probably also air.
Detective who?
When we did the Allison Davis.
Oh yeah, we do have a really cool one coming up about Allison Davis. We got some very interesting B-roll. We watched 48 Hours. We realized that there is something missing in that as far as detective work. There was an Indiana State police officer. I mean, the Indiana State police detectives on this case did a great job. And he noticed, shall I just say, it was a blood spatter on the wall that didn't match the narrative. Now, she was acquitted, but it was very interesting what he brought up, and we just felt like we should get the prosecutors and he's now the police chief, James Kruger, together and talk about that. We did it right after CBS aired that 48 hours, and
Tessa was on that one again.
Tessa was on that one. Mike was on that one because Tessa was the lead, right? Okay. And then, of course, James Kruger. It's very interesting what he says because he figured greatly in the CBS 48 hours when he also said, there's something he regretted. Sometimes when you have a small police agency.
It's a cool episode.
It was a cool episode. Thank you.
Just a lot of layers.
There were some interviews that I did that Brock kind of helped me with sometimes, uploading and everything else. I do want to mention those. Donna Schroyer, a lot of people know her in town. She works at Dana Corporation. She witnessed a shooting at her workplace at Dana on West State Boulevard and just didn't get any help from the company. I did write the company, okay, so I did everything journalistically that you're supposed to do. They did not respond to me. The union finally stepped in after they realized how bad off she was. I mean, this poor lady, the guy wasn't shooting at her, but she saw the muzzle flash and everything else, and she just can't get over it. I mean, this is a true case of PTSD right before our eyes. And so she was eager to get on camera, tell her entire story. I should probably just repost it so people can see it. We had Bree Andrews, who's an activist, community organizer here, and head of the Young Democrats, who's really out to make a difference. As we know, the Democrats aren't very strong in town. And so, who knows? It might change. And, I have a feeling that she will be running for something someday. I don't think she's quite 30 years old yet, so we'll see. And then there was one of my favorites with Roderick Parker, who is with Big Hearts Community, and Greg Porty, who's a local barber in town. They're all trying to help basically the black youth in town, avoid the violence, hear the stories, make their own decisions. Hopefully it'll be the right decisions. It is a community where we see way too much violence, and if there's anybody who wants to change it and puts his whole heart into it, it is Roderick Parker. I also interviewed a French judge in Alençon, which is in Normandy. His name is Hugo Rialon. And I think I don't know if I posted the entire interview. It is in English. I'm not going to make all you guys listen to French interview. I'm not that silly. And then I also did a French greffier, which is, that's a whole different ball of wax, but he was very, very interesting. The greffier, we don't really have anything such as a greffier here. I mean, we have sort of like a greffier, but anyway, Hugo Rialon was the one that went through with me on how they choose judges in France. I really think it's great. It's almost apolitical. I know you can't take the politics out of everything. We know that, but at least it's almost like you have to take an LSAT to be a judge. Once you get your law degree, you have to get a high grade on that. Then if you get chosen, all right, from that exam, you go down for 2.5 years to Bordeaux. You study how to be a judge, all right? You don't just get thrown into it. And then you get specialty, and that's when you go to an internship. And to me, it just makes so much sense. So, anyway, we had that. I'm going to work backwards on all the topics that we've covered because I really think that we've covered some great topics, and I think that they could be archived and used in all kinds of educational things. Plus, we also do talk about the crime in the courts here. But, since people love true crime so much, it's like, oh, we had a murder trial here, this is what happened, et cetera. Okay. So we have done freedom of speech, the First Amendment. That's been in the news a lot. Am I right? Or am I right? That's Deputy Prosecutor James Posey. We did jury selection. I found out a lot about jury selection. That was where you described how many times they can reject somebody and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Strike, yeah.
Peremptory strikes.
Right, peremptory strike. And what was the other one called?
Cause.
Cause, yeah. Let's see. Then we did I'm skipping the ones where we actually had guests. So we did probation violations. Can you bond out? You can't bond out in this county.
Generally, that's true.
Generally, you're stuck there, whereas in other counties, you can. So even if you have the money, you can't. And I do see an awful lot of people on the sheriff's website, which, you know. Then we did double jeopardy. So that people would have a clue as to what the heck that is. Let me see what else we got. Probation violations, double jeopardy. Does the charge fit the crime? One of the reasons that we did that was that I've seen times where I ask myself, why is it a murder charge? You know, because I don't feel like that was the intent. Where I think that there should be some repercussions like ag-bat.
Well, it depends on the circumstances. Murder in Indiana is knowingly or knowingly or intentionally killing another person. There can be some mitigation. Voluntary manslaughter is doing that, but under sudden heat, which means you're just suddenly mad or angry kind of thing. Then there's also, you can kill somebody in self-defense if you are in imminent danger and it's reasonable that you use an appropriate amount of force that is consistent with the threat against you.
Well, I noticed in the one this week, there's no self-defense.
Well, that's
when you got somebody on the video.
Well, and that's when it gets down to, a lot of people use the term premeditated, but I think juries look at it, and sometimes the intent isn't clear from the actions, but sometimes you can infer what the intent is by what they do. I mean, if you shoot somebody 10 times, presumably your intent was to kill them. And it kind of gets away from the sudden heat aspect of it. Okay, 1 or 2 shots.
But it's still murder if it's sudden heat, too.
Well, then, voluntary manslaughter is murder but sudden heat, and it's a lesser level.
Yeah. Sometimes I just think, was it really murder? Yeah. All right, and then legal immunity. Is it fair? We went over that. Suppression of evidence. Actually, a lot of people watch suppression of evidence.
Well, I think that's something that comes up all the time. I mean, they just, the United Healthcare CEO who was killed in New York, they just had hearings last week, I believe. The defense filed motion to suppress the evidence that was seized from him when he was arrested in the McDonald's. He had a backpack, and that's a very common situation that when you arrest somebody for officer safety, you frequently examine their clothing, pat them down. If they've got, if they're in a vehicle, check the car, see if there's anything that can hurt the officers.
Right.
And you frequently find items that are incriminating against the defendant.
And I wonder how that's going to roll.
That's why they have the hearing. And whether it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
He seems to be really enjoying the whole trial, too. He's making the most of it, waving at everybody.
Yeah. Well,
maybe we should do something about health care. I know, national health insurance. Then we wouldn't, you know. What a thought. Okay. Plea agreements, are they good or bad? You know, you guys take a lot of heat for having plea agreements. Oh, I see it on Nosy Neighbors. I see it on the Wayne and 21 Facebook accounts. Oh, they'll plea them out, you know. And we've already been through. If they didn't plea them out, you don't have big enough courts to handle everything.
No.
Remember, we came up with statistics that proved that. Then we talked about sentencing. And the confusion around that. But I can't remember exactly what was confusing, but anyway, we spelled it out. False allegations. That's another one that a lot of people watched. How to fight back. And that's got to be, I mean, if anybody's ever accused you of doing something, even if it's just like a little teeny tiny thing, you know, if you're a normal human being, you're not a sociopath, you're not a psychopath, you do take it personally. Oh, what do they think of me? You know, it's not exactly a false allegation, but you're a false accusation. And it's a horrible feeling. Let's see here, June 25th, we released the Runaway Child, What to Do. And like I said, my great-great-grandpa from Scotland would have been considered a runaway child because he was 14 when he left Maumee. So, you know, our definition of a runaway child has changed.
I think we're much more protective as a society of children than they were 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 50 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's just like...
I did things leaving home, riding around on my bicycle, went a lot farther than I ever let my kids go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Some of the horrible stories. And Brock, what about you? You've got a 2-year-old.
Oh, I'm paranoid. Well, especially nowadays with all the social media stuff. I mean, Snapchats and all the, like, it's crazy. I mean, she's only 2 years old, but it's crazy. When I was in high schools, it was just mind-blowing.
I know. I mean, I can remember when Robbie was 4 and he escaped from the house. He used to get mad, you know, and so my neighbor called up and she said, Robbie's standing at the corner of Greenwood. It was like, you know, your heart is just like, oh my God. Or if you lose them in the grocery store, you know, and then you just it's that moment of panic. But anyway, back to that. Runaway Child, What to Do. And then we did something on how prosecutors protect children, and we also discussed the Pike's Pub investigation, which is haven't heard anything about it recently, but there is a hearing in January. We won't be able to get our cameras in there. All right, so, and then revisiting the George Floyd protests 5 years later. I really liked doing that one because I was down there almost like every day. And going over all of that was, and then of course I had all this original B-roll because the Journal-Gazette never bothered to use it, and so it was great. What is habeas corpus? That's another one that's been like a lot in the news. Here we go. We've got to top that up, sir. Because, and doesn't this have to do with immigration, habeas corpus? Am I right or wrong?
Yes. Actually have a situation I'm kind of involved in right now about that.
In the prosecutor's office or personally?
More personally, a longtime friend of mine who lives in Austin, Texas, married a woman from Russia about 8-9 years ago. And they brought her parents over a year ago and have applied for all sorts of the appropriate ability to stay here permanently, and also her sister. Well, and her sister has applied for asylum. So they've got pending applications in the courts down there in the immigration courts. And on the Sunday of Thanksgiving, they were coming back from a mini vacation, and apparently Texas Border Patrol had checkpoints, and they stopped, and my friends or his wife's parents and her sister were all taken into custody.
Oh my gosh.
And they actually had some kind of bond hearing this morning, and they've now been moved into an ICE facility.
Oh.
But these folks would not appear to be the type have not committed any crimes. The sister had been a Fulbright scholar at IU Bloomington in the past. Parents are in their 70s. The father has some heart issues, but they're coming from a country that is a clear enemy of ours. They haven't committed any crimes. they've applied for the appropriate legal
Well, they're kind of like
protections.
a refugee, would you say, or a
Well, I don't think
political-
certainly for her coming from Russia, I'm guessing that if you apply for asylum in the United States, you wouldn't be very welcome back in Russia if
Right.
you went back. And the parents are immediate family, which is supposed to give precedent to them to get priority, I guess, in immigration matters. So it's like, why are they being held?
So were they happening to vacation in Mexico? Is that how they got caught?
No, they were on, what is it, South Padre Island or something?
Oh yeah, that's Texas.
Yeah.
My cousin's got a place.
So it's very confusing. It's very
Are you able to get
concerning.
any help, considering you are not an immigration attorney?
Well, we've been able to, through some friends, contact some congressional members, and they're looking into it and trying to help us.
But just the fact that the father has heart issues and he's in an ICE detainment center does give me great pause. They keep them freezing.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Is she
the struggle
able to
I
go
have.
see them?
They were not able to even attend the hearing virtually this morning.
Oh gosh,
So,
what is going on in America?
well, and it also is contradicting what the administration, at least officially, has been saying, and kind of plays into the narrative that has been out there from critics that they're doing all these horrible things. So it is disturbing if we're not providing basic due process for people that are not fitting the profile that they are saying are the people that we're picking up.
I was like a huge percentage of the Latinos that they pick up. I don't have any record or anything like that. So I really hope that, especially for that father, if he's got heart issues, it's just, I mean, just being, here I go again, but just being in jail or prison is hard on you. And then to be in one of those places makes it even worse. And that poor guy, I mean,
Well, these are also people that don't deserve it. It's not like they did something like bad. They're.
I mean, I kind of understand when we've had so much illegal immigration, and trying to pin things down is difficult. I mean, if I was stopped on the street, how do I prove? I mean, I have a passport, but I don't carry it every day. And
You have a
I've got a
driver's
driver's license that presumably would indicate citizenship, but I don't know. So
let's just hope we have some sense in all of
yes,
this.
I think
That's what
that
we really need. I mean, there's a lot of good people who, and then to think, wouldn't it be horrible if they just decided, okay, well, you're going to Sudan, whereas apparently they've sent some people to. Just want to point out, Susu, I've got your bracelet on. This is a good moment to bring it up. She gave it to me. This is my friend in New York City who watches the podcast literally every time we put one out on her smart TV. She thinks Mike is a hoot.
You said Susu?
This is Susu, yeah.
Call her daughter.
This is a sorority.
Cute.
She's a sorority sister of mine from back in the day. I have your bracelet on. It says hope, and this is a good time that we need hope. We really do need hope for these situations. And, I would hope that those people wouldn't be sent back to Russia. I can't imagine. Because it just doesn't seem like it would be safe for them. Let's see, did I say, how do you get charged with a crime? We actually went through step by step. If you do something, normally it's the cop who pulls you over, although other people can report that they have been that somebody has committed a crime against them, and then it's up to the prosecutor's office to decide whether it has merit. And then you got your probable cause going, and then the initial hearing and all of that. And hopefully none of us out there will have to go through that. Expungement, is it worth it? Because I think even though you want something expunged, I know one person in this town who went through the trouble of getting expunged, and it still stopped him from getting a job with FWCS. So Because they still have the ability to find you, you know.
Well, depending on particularly what the offense is, if it did attract media attention, it's still going to be on the internet. It could be in newspaper archives.
Right now, I didn't. It was just a drug deal, to be honest with you. You know who does hire felons? Are a lot of these industries around here.
Well,
they
I mean,
need people.
Okay, if you've got a drug dealing conviction and you want to work with kids, you know, maybe that's not the best place to start.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
The schools are thorough. I mean, even for me to just do different things, they can be very thorough. They even pulled that I was in Michigan for all of 2 months. They're very thorough.
oh wow, I lost it.
Okay, I'll get back.
Sorry, Brock has to come to the rescue again.
Okay, here you go.
That's great.
There you go.
By the way, we do have a subscriber from Ireland too. I just saw that this morning. Then we did how to get out, bail versus bond. I called it the how to get out of jail card, although, you know, it's just making a little group there. I think one of the things that Mike really wanted to talk about was the Title 4D, which Title 4D, to those people who've been through it, they really know what it is. But if you just went out in the street and talked about Title 4D, they might not know what you're talking about, you know. But it's actually, they go after, quote, deadbeat dads. And I think that this prosecutor, you want to go through how many dollars you've gotten back for the wronged individuals, which could be men too.
Well, it's the obligation that the non-custodial parent owes
Right.
to his children or her children. I would say probably 10, 15% are not dads. They're women.
Yeah, okay, women.
So we try not to use the deadbeat dad terminology because it's not reflective of all the people we deal with. But I just saw a stat that so far this year, I think it's a little over 32 million that we brought back into the community.
So you paid for your department down there.
Well, I mean, it's an ongoing, that money doesn't pay us. That money goes straight to the families.
There's no fees?
No.
Huh.
I mean, the program was created at the federal level. We get reimbursed 66% through the state and the federal government for expenditures that we do. And I think the reason for justifying the program is this creates a safety net for a family or a single parent who's trying to raise children on one income. And this is the participation that the other parent should be putting in. And as a matter of public policy, people might be on that edge of poverty, of needing food stamps or being placed on welfare. But if they're regularly getting their child support, maybe it pushes them high enough up that they aren't relying on the complete public assistance.
Yeah, it makes sense. And they used to be able to skip out. They can't do that anymore. What is a mistrial? I forget why we talked about mistrial, but we have had them here. Have you had one lately?
Yeah, I mean, they happen frequently enough. The most common mistrial is probably a hung jury.
Oh, that's okay. So,
But any time that once you've sworn in the jury and the case is stopped in the middle is considered to be a mistrial. But but the most common one is it goes to the jury can't unanimously agree on a verdict. And sometimes, I know recently we've had some where they've agreed on 2 or 3 counts, but not on another count. And depending on how the split is and where they are, we may or may not retry it. If it's a kind of a lesser charge on a bigger crime, we're probably less likely to try that.
right, you just had one of those. I'm trying to remember who it was. And so then I asked, I think it was Tom Shaley, well, are you going to do it? And they were going to do it on that one charge. So, yeah.
But other things happen during the course of a trial. We usually pick a couple of alternates on trials but especially during cold and flu season,
Yeah.
you may lose a juror to either misconduct. It comes out that they talked to somebody. We've had jurors say, "Oh, I didn't realize when we went through the jury selection process that I did know this witness until I saw him on the stand, and now I don't think I can be fair and impartial."
Oh, dear.
And then we put another juror on and say they get sick. So there are times when we lose jurors and we dip below the 12 jurors.
Not very often.
Not very
'cause you got
often.
those 2 alternates sitting there, so.
But or you have a disruption in the courtroom that we've had that where
That makes it exciting
a
for me.
defendant acts up or attacks their attorney, a bailiff kind of thing. A family member gets up and says stupid stuff or tries to contact a juror. So we've had all sorts of things happen over the years that can result in a mistrial.
I've seen a couple judges where they've let audience members know. First of all, you can't wear any T-shirt or sweatshirt that has, justice for so-and-so on there. They don't allow that. You either have to take it out and put it on inside out, or you just simply can't come in the courtroom. There have been some outbursts. Some of the outbursts are kind of understandable when they hear something and the family starts crying, or that, they have, but they need to leave because the judge says you can't do that.
Trials can become, they're not, we're always saying it's not like on TV. But by the same token, when it's your loved one that was killed and we're introducing testimony that is very dramatic about how your loved one died,
Right.
or showing pictures of the crime scene or of the autopsy, those can be very traumatic to the victims, and their emotion gets the best of them.
Yeah, it really does. And then they just have to put a stop to it. Indiana's Criminal Rule 4, that was very interesting, why those with criminal charges can be released from jail. It all depends kind of on the timing and who continues the trial and things like that. Doesn't happen too often, I don't think, that people get let go.
Yeah, there's, without getting back into it, there's a 70-day rule, a 6-month rule, and a 1-year rule that you're supposed to bring people to trial. The 70-day rule is when somebody asks for a speedy trial, we're supposed to bring them to trial within 70 days. That rule was adopted, as near as I can tell, over 50 years ago. And the trouble now is with all of the technology that needs to be done, DNA examination, cell phone extraction, not to mention forensics and the traditional fingerprints and stuff like that. But to gather all of that stuff, medical records, in 70 days for both sides. It can take us 30 days or longer to get some of those records back or lab tests done. And then the defense needs time to look at it as well. The 70-day rule, I think, really is antiquated and is not fair really to either a practical
legislature thing, or is that
it's a rule of the court.
This court or the state court?
State court.
State court, okay. So you'd have to appeal to them to get it changed.
Well, it's one that I hope someday the Indiana Supreme Court has a rules committee that's composed of judges and a couple of prosecutors, public defenders, and they are kind of in constant reexamination of those rules.
My brother would love to see the statute of limitations change. It's only 2 years.
That's for civil litigation. Like if you're in a car accident, you have 2 years to file a claim under. There's a couple of exceptions, but that's pretty ironclad.
He doesn't think it's enough.
And he may be right for many of the same reasons I just said.
Is it the state legislature that's in charge of state statute of limitations, or is it?
That would be more of a legislative
Right.
fix.
You should start a letter writing campaign. I doubt if they're going to change it because it just tells me that they won't. And that is kind of a criticism. No contact order, protection order. We had fun with that one. You know, because the no contact order comes from the court, protection order comes from the individual. Habitual traffic violator. Yes, some people watch that too. That's one of the ones that I think is silly, that we put people in prison for that.
That was a more interesting episode than I expected it to be, though, because I was like, what are we talking about today? And then I remember leaving and being like, this is interesting. And I went home and ranted about it to my wife.
Well, it was only episode 3, too. So in the course of this podcast, you've learned an awful lot.
At first, I was like, who's this crazy lady asking me to come to the library?
You could be almost an attorney.
Yes, we should both comment on that.
That's right.
And we know that Mike doesn't feel that way. He feels like it is a crime of irresponsibility, right?
Well, particularly when they put the special driving permit in over a decade ago. That has been historically pretty easy to get, that takes you out of that habitual traffic violator category.
Yeah.
Get that thing, and then you don't have that issue.
Could we have like a little office, maybe not in the prosecutor's office, but somewhere downtown, maybe over there with the police? Go there, fill out the forms.
I believe several of the courts basically do that.
Do they? We should check into that. Because I do know that some of these guys are, like you said, that you know, like I've said, they're the knockabout lads that I used to talk about so much. They just
Well, what's really
get it
stupid
together.
is after they've been convicted of it once, and we're not sending people to prison even their first time for habitual traffic violator.
I would hope not.
Frequently, we're telling them, go get your SDP if you can't get your license fixed.
What's the SDP again?
Specialized driving permit.
Specialized driving permit. It almost sounds like a social disease when you say SDP.
But once you've been through the process once, and then you don't fix it, I don't have a lot of sympathy at that point. And I was the first to say I thought that this, as a potential level 5 felony, was so out of proportion to the rest of our criminal code.
Yeah.
When that was the same as reckless homicide or OWI, causing serious bodily injury.
Yes. Still.
Yeah.
And also, I wonder if the Bureau of Motor Vehicles doesn't make a lot of scratch on this one.
Well, I don't know, but even their reinstatement fees, the courts have a lot of freedom now to waive some of those costs.
Thank God, because I know the BM, they take in, I looked it up once, $1 billion or more in all these fees.
Well,
I will check it again. I was a little bit like, oh, okay.
driver's
Indiana
license.
is a poor state. We are the third most reliant on the federal government. Despite what Mike Braun says, that's our governor, we are the third most reliant. We do live on the largesse of the federal government. We need the federal government. The federal government is good, all right? And to say that we don't, we do. We have a poor state. We just need to help each other. It's just what I'm begging here. And funnily enough, the one right before that was consequences of failure to appear in court. They can be really drastic.
Mm-hmm. Judges tend to take their orders telling you to come back very seriously.
Right. I mean, I've sat in court, not recently, and I really want to do more of that because I just love to sit there and watch everybody and just think, oh, for God's sake. But I can see the defense attorneys who are in there day in and day out, and all of a sudden they're looking around, is so-and-so here? Well, okay, and so then they're trying to drag them in again. And, it must just be, I will say, I think the defense attorneys in this town really earn their living. Well, can't say my public defender cares for me much. That is one of the lines from my song. And then the very first one we did, which a lot of people actually did watch, was what is a probable cause? So we went into what's a probable cause. It's the name of the podcast, so we might as well discuss what's a probable cause. I have one here, the one on Michael Barker, but it's not within my reach, so I can't show you. They're very quaint here in Allen County because they use this little tiny dark type, which is kind of what I used for my logo right here. Doesn't it kind of remind you?
Oh yeah, it's
You know,
it's down in the left-hand corner right now.
yeah. And down in the left-hand corner, thank you, Brock. And also, it kind of reminds me of Old England. Does anybody watch Miss Scarlet on PBS? Do you watch that one?
No.
Oh, it's so good. Well, I knew you watched Downton Abbey. I wonder if you watched that one. She's a lady detective. And it's a really, really good show. So not everyone that they show. So before we sign off, I have a couple more things that I want
Got one.
Okay.
discuss with Mike, and that was the involvement of the state legislature. As you know, I always say we're county-based, northeastern Indiana-based, but then it really is up to the state to make our lives a little easier sometimes. You were hoping for money. I think it was called Bill 1006. Whatever happened to Bill 1006?
Well, there were actually two 1006s. One was done in 2013, I think 2014, that revised our criminal code.
Okay.
So you'll see a lot of references to 1006. That's where we went from A, B, C, D level felonies to our 1
through
through
6.
5. So, and that also changed our credit time for people serving their sentences on 1 through 5s. In murder cases, they serve 75% of their sentence. So if you see somebody who gets a 10-year sentence, they're going to actually serve 7.5 years. In the prior code, they did 50% of it. So a 10-year sentence, they actually served 5 years. So that had a pretty big impact, particularly on the longer sentences.
Yeah.
That so many of our murder cases are effectively life sentences.
50 years, that's what you consider.
Well, if you get...
So, but you were supposed to get funding.
Well, then the 1006 in this last session of the legislature was a reimbursement to the counties if they agreed to pay their deputy prosecutors a certain amount of money. Around 100,000, I think, was the target. They would then be reimbursed 50% to the county. It certainly would have saved Allen County $2-3 million. But so when you compare it like to a smaller county that may only have a prosecutor and chief deputy who are primarily paid by the state,
Right.
and then a 4D deputy who's 66% paid by the state. And if they have like one other deputy in the office, that may be the only one their county is paying for. Well, Allen County, we have over 40 deputies now. And the prosecutor and the chief deputy and people who work in child support are the only ones that are getting reimbursed by the state. The other 36, 37 deputy prosecutors in this office are all the responsibility of Allen County taxpayers.
Right. And they're also going to cut community corrections, which means that there's going to be a greater responsibility on the county for that. Yeah. And I know county council, they don't like to part with a penny over there.
No, they don't.
They're really stingy. Even if they have 50 million cash reserves, it doesn't matter to these dudes, okay? So that's one thing. And then last week, you kind of sighed at your desk over there and said that they didn't seem to care about adult protective services. What is going on there?
Well, for actually for 40 years, because adult protective services was created in '85. And what the state's plan was, they divided up the state into, I think it ended up being about 18 districts, and created what they called hub prosecutors. So Allen County was the hub prosecutor for Northeast Indiana. LaGrange, Steuben, Noble, DeKalb,
Whitley,
Allen, Huntington, Wells, and Adams County.
Yep.
And so out of this office,
And Kosciuszko.
no, we didn't have Kosciuszko.
Oh, we didn't? Okay.
But we had a staff of around 6 people, and they would field calls from endangered adults, family members that were concerned about their elderly parents. It also could be people that suffered from, were adults but had differing disabilities. And they were kind of a conduit for all of that. They would do home visits. They would go out into the community. But the program, it was never clear what the formula was for funding. And it also wasn't directed at the needs of that individual hub or county. And it was also not really very well defined in terms of, as the Allen County prosecutor, I'm sending people that work for me into these other counties where they all have their own prosecutor. I can't file a case in Noble or any of those other counties. I have no real authority that way. So that was always a little bit ill-defined, but we worked through it for the most part. And our investigators generally had pretty good working relationships as needed with the other police departments and prosecutors' offices. And it really didn't cost the state anything administratively. We didn't charge anything for that. But all the time we had it, it was very frustrating because the amount of money we got did not fit how we were funded. And if we wanted to pay these people at the same level as our other employees, basically on the county grid system, it always seemed like every year we either had $20,000 or $30,000 too much or $20,000 or $30,000 too little. And you know, and it didn't seem fair for us to take money or ask for an allocation from Allen County when we were covering, 8 other counties. So, and different variations on that occurred throughout the state. And so finally, all of the hub prosecutors, and we would meet periodically, got together and a couple of years ago sent a letter to FSSA and just said, look, this needs to be fixed. And we need additional funding for this and basically additional guidance on how we do some of these things. And they basically, for the most part, ignored us, put it out to a bid late last year. And the contract was ending. We noticed we wouldn't renew the contract effective June 30th of 25.
Okay.
So they got out their RFP, I think, in November or December of last year.
Request for proposal.
Yes.
Okay.
They eventually didn't get anything approved till, I think it was the end of April, beginning of May in that area. Didn't have much of a plan how to implement. And they basically did it for a little bit more than what they wanted. We kind of had a counter proposal and we did bid on it, but our bid was a lot higher because the private company that came in, that presumably is going to make a profit, is doing a glorified call center. And if they think there's something that needs to be in-person investigated, they're, as I understand it, pretty much told, well, just go call your local police department. Well, that's why we were there, because we had an expertise. What we did was we would take a look at it, see what assistance was needed, whether it was a referral to a different social service agency, whether it was, they need medical assistance, get to that kind of thing. If it was financial exploitation, work with their, maybe to get a guardian for their financial assets.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
You probably got to put a hedge fund in charge of it.
One wonders. So,
Well, I think we need to dig into it.
well,
Somebody needs to dig into it.
sadly, I think it'll probably happen after somebody's dead.
Yeah, oh, exactly.
And that, when I say that, it wasn't that long ago that a couple of our investigators went out to a scene that had been called into local law enforcement, and they called us, and we found a dead body.
And it had been like elder abuse,
Well, neglect.
neglect.
Nobody's checking on him.
Wow.
So that's kind of a sad thing.
I always like, oh, we'll save a little bit of money and we'll put a hedge fund from New York in charge.
This company was, forget, New England?
Where?
Forget if it was from Boston or forget where it was from.
I'm reading a John Grisham book that I got for free. I posted on Probable Cause. Apparently there's a lot of John Grisham people out there, and it's called The Rooster Bar. And of course, it has to do with law schools that are funded by hedge funds and how it's just a big scam. They take your money and no real good jobs. It doesn't take anything to get into the law schools, and these guys are just saddled with just enormous debt and a not very bright future. I'm not way into it yet. I promise to lend the book to somebody else as soon as I'm done. I love those little libraries around town because I'll look in there. It's like, do I have time? That looks like a good book. Well, I gave this one a shot, and I'll report back to you guys.
Well, I know you have some time on your hands.
You'd be surprised. Anyway, we have really had a good retrospective on the Probable Cause. I hope you've enjoyed it too.
I have one other thing I wanted to say.
Go ahead.
When I started doing this, many members of my staff asked, "Why are you doing this? Why are you wasting your time?" And I told them, and it's actually following through with the way I've felt generally about doing media interviews my entire career, but especially here from the prosecutor's office when we're usually not talking about factual what happened because we're so limited in what we can say ethically about cases.
It's only fair.
But what I told them, and what I still say, is there is so much misinformation, misunderstanding, lack of knowledge about how the criminal justice system works. There's so many beliefs that we give away the store every day on plea agreements, that we are against African Americans, we don't care about anybody, we're just interested in putting people in jail, that defense lawyers are protecting the people, and all we care about is throwing people in jail. And I feel like it's part of my job to explain as much as I can and educate the public as much as I can about what we really do, what we do ethically, why we do ethically, all the things that we protect. I mean, I've had defense lawyers come to me and say, I'd never win a suppression hearing here. Well, and I said, well, I hope not, because if we're doing our job, we're not doing marginal, potentially unconstitutional searches because we're following the rules. We're being ethical. We're trying to do our best to protect the rights of criminal defendants. We're trying to look at each case individually, and that each person has a plea or that is structured to fit his or her needs to make them, or to try to put them on a path to rehabilitation. If, on the other hand, they are someone who's a violent offender who hurts other people, then it's our responsibility to put them away for as long as we can to protect the rest of the community.
I know. Sometimes I feel like, oh, thank God that guy isn't going to be out again.
And
I'm a bit of a softie, so.
Well, and walking that it's not an exact science. There are times when we're going to make mistakes. We're going to guess wrong. There are all sorts of cases that are very subjective in what's best. How do we best treat the victim? How do we get the best solution for the defendant? But the prosecutors I know throughout the state are that way. But the reason why we don't get our search warrants tossed is because we're careful on what we put in them. And we play by the rules. We put the good and the bad in. So I think when I ran for office, one of the things I said is we really work on a trust issue, that hopefully the citizens of this community trust our judgment, trust our work product. And the reason why we fight for additional funding for prosecutors and stuff is, who do you want representing you, the community? Do you want just kids that come out of law school and pay them $50,000 a year, and in 2 years they're taking a job in the private sector to make a lot more money, and then we're constantly retraining?
Right.
Or do you want people that have experience, hopefully some wisdom, some good judgment to represent the citizens of this community? And that's what this office has been trying to do, and I'd like to think is doing and has been doing for quite a while.
Yeah.
So when I come on here, yes, I've learned to enjoy this.
It's like taking that spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down. Right?
But the goal is still to educate, hopefully, a little bit, answer questions, dispute some of the myths that are out there. But in the long run, hopefully we have a community that understands the system a little better, understands what we do and why we do it. And I think this has been a great forum to do that in.
Oh, no, it is. And I mean, Brock and I are so pleased, and we actually like you too. So, that's before we take our last chin-chin, I did want to give you this for your lovely wives. I didn't know whether Mike's wife might have said, "Oh, for God's sake, get off of that podcast." So that's for
No, I think she kind of likes it.
Annie and Victoria.
Thank you.
And just so nice that
Well, now I can't eat it because you just documented on the air. It's for her.
that's right. Well, hopefully she'll share,
Get stuck in your back for a couple of weeks. Forget about
I
it.
did bring some, Russell Stover, which I will defend Russell Stover because I think they're good. And so why don't we do our last clink for the year, folks? And then we're going to have to say goodbye. Chin from The Probable Cause. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple. See our Facebook page, The Probable Cause, or go to www.theprobablecause.com. But for now, we say Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and goodbye. This episode is filmed and edited by Frosty Pictures. The Probable Cause is produced by Maumee Media.
Worried when I crossed the Michigan line, a cop from Steuben County waiting on I-69, a headlamp went out while he pulled me over, charged me with possession after I rolled down the window.
Now that's skunk.
Indiana's a trip when it comes to weed. It's like who doesn't smoke or use gummies? Your grandpa, your brother, your rich friend from school? Hell, throwing the whole courthouse and my attorney too. It's time those assholes change these stupid laws. It ain't worth the paper for a probable cause. Sitting on a bar stool in my usual place, this guy next to me said he was looking for some cocaine. Hell, I just sold him an 8-ball with a little piece off for me. But my buyer was a cop? Should have known he was a creep. So I'm a dealer, right? You gotta be kidding. It's a rich man's drug. I just take it because I'm injured. 8 years in Westville with a monkey on my back. There's more drugs in here than you can shake a shank at. One dirty drug test, man, this system's flawed. Undercover screwed me in my probable cause. Street crimes never did me no favors. I'm hooked on Fetty. I'm a junkie, not a felon. Told that son of a bitch on the way to lockup. I can't seem to shake it. I need help, not mocking. What do you want from someone who's been through the system? Drugs all through the house before mom and dad went to prison. Throw me in jail and give me a fine? Someday I'll be dead and away from your kind. Now I'm at the courthouse in front of a judge. Can't say my public defender cares for me much. Crimes are committed on both sides of the law. God help me now with this probable cause. C shift never gets old. Anything can happen when you're out on patrol. You think I'm just eating donuts, man? Give me a break. Nothing on this job is a piece of cake. Lights and sirens activated, this knucklehead wants to chase. Baby mama at the scene just spit in my face. Wife's worried that someday I won't be pulling up at all. You'll read about my killer in a probable cause. Man. She went through my phone and she seen my text. I told her forget it. It was just my ex. She took a swing and knocked me flat. Man, I went wild and hit her back. Judge slapped me with a no contact order. Now she's got the kids and she's staying with her mother. So she started it all and I have to take the fall. You can read my whole story in the probable when I was young. Caught a case for dealing and did my time. Yeah, I got a record, but I was doing fine. Running my own business on the southeast side. Yeah, I got a gun. I kept it on hand. Told the cop my reason, thought he'd understand. In this neighborhood, you need some protection. Attorney thought I could get just community corrections, but the judge decided to send me to prison. Can't get ahead no matter how hard I try. Read the probable cause, it'll make you
Whispers
cry.
and rumors that don't get reported. Stories I write that are often distorted. Got my notebook and pen, and I'm ready to listen. Tell me the truth, I'll consider your position. I've seen killers with eyes so cold and dead, and others go to prison because of what someone said, rotting away for the rest of their lives, leaving a hole here on the outside. Things are sad here on earth, and it's no wonder why, when you consider the sociopaths who remain in charge. It's me who sees the system for all its flaws, and I usually start with the probable cause. My right hand is reading the probable cause.